Hey everybody, so I just watched the Lifetime film Death Saved My Life that premiered on Saturday, and I wanted to read to you all from an article on a website called Distractify.com that talks more in depth about the original story that this film is taking away from. A bit, it's kind of got that storyline in there. And it definitely taught me a new word, which is called pseudoscience. So here goes the article from Distractify.com that was written by Dan Clarendon. So the article says, Death Saved My Life, which premieres on Lifetime on Saturday, which we know that has passed, is likely based on the life of Noella Rukundo, who made headlines in 2016 when she revealed she faked her death to get the upper hand when her husband put a hit on her life. As BBC News reported at that time, Rukundo traveled from her home in Australia to her native Burundi in 2015 to attend her stepmother's funeral. As Rukundo tried to rest in her hotel room, Belinga Kalala, her husband and the father to her three children, called her from Australia and told her to go outside to get some fresh air. She followed his advice, and that's when she was kidnapped by gunpoint. Rukundo's captors drove her to another location, she said, and they called their client on speaker's phone so that Rukundo could hear the conversation. And that's when Rukundo heard her husband's voice tell the captors to kill her. I heard his voice, she said per BBC's News. I heard him. I felt like my head was going to blow up. I said to myself I was already dead. Nothing I can do can save me. But the gang's leader spared her life. He looks at me and then he says, "We're not going to kill you. We don't kill women and children," Rukundo said. The gang told Rukundo she had 80 hours to leave the country, and they left her on the side of the road with a memory card containing recordings of their phone calls with Kalala and receipts for Western Union money transfers. By the time Rakunda secretly returned to Australia with the help of her church's pastor, Kalala had told their community she was dead, and he was hosting mourners and well wishers at his house, many of whom gave him money. So if you're not following with the names here, her husband basically, thinking that the people that he hired had already killed her in Australia, back at home he was throwing or not Australia, but back where she was at, he's thinking those people already killed her. He paid them to kill her. So already back at home in Australia, he's throwing like these gatherings to mourn her and bringing like the community, I guess, that know both of them. He's bringing them to mourn her. So he's anticipating that she's already dead, and then on top of it, he's throwing these soirees to mourn her. So the article continues. When I get out of the car, he saw me straight away, she recalled. He put his hands on his head and said, "Is it my eyes? Is it a ghost?" Her response, "Surprise, I'm still alive." Rukundo later spoke with Kalala by phone and he made a full confession, which she recorded. He said he wanted to kill me because he was jealous, Rukundo said. He thought that I wanted to leave him for another man. So Kalala ultimately pleaded guilty to incitement to murder, and he was sentenced to just 9 years in prison. And Rakunda vowed to move on. Now, I find that interesting. He was only sentenced to 9 years in prison. He tried to kill her. I'm not understanding why that he didn't get sentenced to much longer. I feel like, well, I'm not even gonna say what I feel like on here, but I just I pray that she don't be on his radar anymore once he is released. But with all of that being said, that is the story that um, inspired this Lifetime film. This film stars the actress Megan Good, and ironically, it also stars her sister Lamaya Good and the actor Chike Okonkwo. And he was outstanding as a heel, y'all. He did an excellent job with playing this character, Ed, that was attempting to hire someone to kill his wife, and he truly believed that the act had been carried out. He paid the person. If you've seen the film, you would know that person did eventually get locked up too. But he did a great job with being believable as a heel and as just a downright crazy person. Like, you have to be crazy to do some stuff like that. And what he had did, it was disgusting. He had no remorse. He had no remorse whatsoever. He did not care that not only was this his ex-wife, but this was also the mother of his only child. He didn't care about any of that. And it's interesting, and I'm sure for some of you, you could think of probably many psychological names to call him. Meanwhile, I can think of none. I didn't major in psychology, so I can't think of anything. But what I can say is it definitely takes a insane person to have a mindset that their life is worth living over someone else's. Like it's just ridiculous, especially when that person did nothing to them. And as we can see in the beginning of the film, he was abusing her. He was abusing him. I mean, he seriously had issues. We know he mentioned his mother was an alcoholic, but that's still no excuse. He has some serious issues, and it was like either she was going to be with him or she was going to be with no one. And he pretty much made that clear in the film. And I just kept, I don't know about you all, but when I watch films like this, I sometimes put myself in the role of that character and I go, what would I do if I was in this situation? And it was a very intelligent move what she did in this film as far as faking her own death. And they call it apparently pseudocidal, to fake one's own death. And I thought that was a very interesting thing. I don't know if I would have came up with something like that. Hopefully I never find myself in that situation. But that was a very interesting way out. I'm sure it couldn't be easy for her to leave her daughter behind in his possession, mind you, but as you can see in the film, it doesn't seem like he would have harmed his daughter, although there was a scene where he clearly raised his voice at his daughter, and it looks like immediately he regretted. So it was interesting to see that he had no remorse when it came to harming his wife or ex-wife, but he was able to restrain himself from harming his child. Nonetheless, as a mother, I personally, if I know he would put his hands on me, I definitely wouldn't have been able to trust him with my child. But I completely understand why she did what she did. I can't imagine her trying to do all of that with a minor in her possession. Not to mention, if they shared custody, then she would have been in some serious trouble. They would have been looking a lot harder probably for her because she would have had a minor in her possession. So for me personally, this is one of the best roles I've ever seen Megan Good play. She definitely was believable in this film. I really, really enjoyed seeing her in this role, a very serious role for her, a very good role for her acting career, in my opinion. And that's watching Megan Good come from a long way in acting. Meanwhile, Chike, he did an excellent job as well as a heel. Again, I think I mentioned this earlier. He really did a great job as the antagonist in this film. Very believable. When you want to throw something at the screen at the heel of a film, then they did a great job with creating that heel. Also, Lamaya Good, she did an excellent job as the sister that was there for her sister, supporting her sister, because initially Megan Good's character did not tell her sister what was happening in her marriage and why she left her husband, but eventually she did. And I really enjoyed seeing Lamaya Good play that protective sister role. Very believable. I can definitely relate on that end too. So all in all, the film was just really, really, really good. But also I'm mindful of the fact that it's more than just a film. For some people, this is their real life, and I take it very seriously. I don't see it as just entertainment. I see it very much as awareness, as many Lifetime films are. They're often based off of true stories, and they're often to raise awareness of what is really happening out here at times. So that's it. You all let me know what you think in the comment section about this film, and I shall talk to y'all soon. Peace.